What's up, guys? This is Coach Grant with First Down Training, and today we're going to be breaking down Ben Roethlisberger's throwing mechanics and his throwing motion. We're going to be talking about how you guys can get better throwing on the run, how you can throw with better touch, and how you guys can change up an arm angle and have a quicker trigger or a quicker release inside the pocket to make you a more effective passer, okay? And guys, if you're a quarterback and you want to get better at reading coverages, understanding defenses, and just being able to know what the defense is going to do and plays that work against those specific coverages, check out that link in the description that says how to read defenses. We break down 100-plus NFL defenses already preloaded, plus 4 new breakdowns every single week. Plus, you get access to other features like workout plans, premium drills on that website. Hope to get you guys on that soon. Check out that link in the description that says how to read defenses. Let's get started with this breakdown. So we're going to be looking at this throw on the run here. Now, I think the biggest thing on the run that quarterbacks do and that screws them up and makes them lose power is they throw off the wrong leg, right? They'll throw off their non-dominant side foot. So if you're a lefty, you want to throw off your left foot, okay? I get that question a lot. Oh, coach, well, what if I'm a lefty? It's the same thing, just opposite, right? So if you're a righty, and we're going to be looking at a righty today, you want to throw off of your right foot. So when we watch this clip full speed of Big Ben here, it's a great throw on the run, very quick trigger, a lot of velocity, is a far throw downfield, and he's able to make this throw. So now we want to talk about his mechanics, right? Because you want to think of it as like the same mechanics as a normal throw, right? You want your hips to be able to go through. You want that dissociation, as everybody likes to call it, or just that separation between your upper half and lower half, which will create torque. So how you get there is when your right foot's in the ground. When you step with your right foot, you want to step obviously in the direction of the throw because that's what gets your hips in line. But as you do that, you want your shoulders to go back. And as your shoulders go back, as your hips are going forward, as we know, that's torque as long as I keep that torque by swinging that left leg through, right? And that's able to keep my torque, and as long as I keep my upper half nice and square to the target, you want to keep your hips square, and you want to try to keep your shoulders square and that front arm nice and tight to your frame to create that nice torque, that almost twitchy motion that everybody likes to have, right? So when he's here and he steps with the right leg as his shoulders go back, you see how he's in that nice L angle, right? Now, I don't need it to be a perfect L angle every single time. That's not something that I teach my quarterbacks. I just want some kind of a backstroke. I don't want you to lift it to 90 because when you lift it to 90, if this shoulder stays closed, you're going to have a dip behind your head. Or if you're opening up that front shoulder, you're going to have the wrong sequence and your shoulders are going to go through first. Now, another thing that happens is when quarterbacks start their motion off the left foot, like let's say Ben started that backstroke right here as he stepped with the left foot and then he stepped with the right and his shoulders were already open, his shoulders would be coming through the same time as his hips, and he'd push this ball and it would be a weak throw, right? How we're able to get velocity on this throw is get your hips going with this step. As you step with the right leg, you close that shoulder. And now you see when he swings that left leg through, I want you to look at his upper half. Completely square. Shoulders are square to the target. Hips are square to the target. So that allows me to focus on the one final detail of throwing on the run, right? So you step with your right foot. Your shoulders go back as you step. Get to that backstroke. Your hip drive brings that ball through. Gets you up to that 90-degree angle. Your left leg swinging through. And now you want to look with your follow-through. You want to be throwing darts. You want to be throwing at a dartboard. You want to trust your hands. Anytime you're off platform, anytime you're on the run, you get your body into the throw and you trust your hands on this throw, because when you trust your hands, that's where your accuracy is. You already have momentum because you're on the run. Same thing when you're off platform, when you're drifting out of the throw or you're stepping up in the pocket. Maybe your feet aren't set. You have momentum on the throw. So let's just trust my hands. That's where my accuracy is going to be if and only if my shoulders and my hips stay square and I have a disciplined upper half. I'm not swinging my front elbow down, okay? You want to keep that front hand somewhere on your collarbone in front of your face. Shoulders and hips stay square. Swing the left leg through on the finish. This is a great mechanically sound throw here by Ben. And you see how he stays on the run. He doesn't throw it and bail the way the hell out of here and push his arm slot to the inside. That's something a lot of people do too, is they step, and when they throw, they swing their front side out, especially right-handed quarterbacks throwing to the left, and their arm flies to the inside and they miss behind, or they mostly will miss behind, not so much to the left, right? Got to make sure that we stay on the run to the target. We keep that energy to the target. Let's watch it again full speed. Great mechanically sound throw here by Big Ben. That's why he's got such a quick trigger, and that's why he's so good outside of the pocket. So for those of you who can't see him here, he's right here in this clip. I know it's kind of tough to see. There's a lot of things going on. Now we're going to be talking about how to throw with touch, and more specifically just your follow-through when you throw with touch. Okay, so let's watch this clip full speed. This is nice. And again, guys, I know this stuff is T-shirt and shorts, right? But we're talking about his mechanics here. And your mechanics when you're in T-shirt and shorts is what builds into a game. And the next clip, we're going to be talking about a game time film example. So that is coming, and it's going to be a great example for why Ben is so effective in the pocket, why he's able to extend the play, okay? But right now we're going to focus on how we can get this nice arc to the throw, right? Some people call it a 2-ball, and then in some situations where you really got to let this thing fly, a 3-ball, right? So When Ben's here, you want to think of it as the same mechanics as your lower half. You want to try to have the same foot strike, the same bend to your knees, almost the same hip drive, but what changes is this front shoulder arc. So you see how Ben, when he takes this ball back, he's got that shoulder arced on, like, I don't need it to be an exact 45, right? I'm not the guy who's going to be like, oh, your shoulders were at a 56-degree angle. I'm not going to be that guy when I coach my quarterbacks. I want some kind of an arc with that front shoulder, not too much to where it's pointing straight up in the air, but not level, okay? Somewhere a little bit in between that, so I can get an arc to this throw. And so my hip drive, when my hip comes through, if your shoulder's arced and you're still ripping your hip through, your hip kind of has this up and over angle, right? And that will get this ball up and over, right? So that's going to help with your follow through, is what I'm going to talk about right now. When you want to have this follow through, your follow through should be up in the air like you're shooting a free throw, right? Like you're just playing basketball, coming to the line, shooting a free throw, shooting a three-pointer, however you want to think of it. So you see when Ben's here, another thing that's also important is you want to stay square. A lot of people, they ask me the question, especially through Instagram, I'll get this DM a lot, how my deep ball fades to the inside. My deep ball falls to the inside. I'm not accurate when I throw some touch or when I have to throw a two ball. And usually what I tell them is that it's probably because your elbow's swinging outside your frame or your front shoulder's opening up too quick. A lot of people, when they throw a touch, they don't remember the principle of dissociation, right? That's something common that I've seen. They'll swing that front shoulder out because they feel like, oh, I got to take a little bit off of it, so I'm going to try to push it. But when you realize when you swing your front shoulder open too soon and you open up too much, your arm gets pushed to the inside. Or when you swing your front elbow down for power, that's what a lot of people do. They forgot to drive with their hips when they throw a touch. They'll swing their front elbow down, and I'm guilty of it too. When I played, it pushes their follow through up in the air. And when you swing that front elbow down, your left side's not going straight down that like midline of your body. You're not being a rotational athlete. You're kind of being up and down athlete. I know that sounds funny, but you're swinging that elbow down, pushes your arm up in the air, and then you lean. You would have that lean out of there with your head, and that's why that ball fades to the inside. You want to really focus on keeping level shoulders, level hips. That front elbow does not swing down, so it's wherever you leave this follow through, right? You see how Ben's follow through, he's flicking this wrist up in the air like he's shooting a free throw. That's how we're consistent. His head stays completely level. His chin stays in the same spot on the throw, keeps the same lower body mechanics. His back hip is starting to come through, and that's why it's such an accurate ball, because you see he's flicking this wrist up in the air. Where if you keep your shoulders disciplined, you drive with your hips, you don't swing your elbows down, you keep your head level, that ball's going to go wherever that follow through goes. That's how you can trust your hands. That's how you can have confidence in the way you're letting go of this ball. And you see this thing is just perfect right over the shoulder. Great mechanically sound throw. Let's watch it again full speed. I hope that made some sense for you guys in terms of throwing with touch, being able to stay square. And again, I know this is t-shirt and shorts, but this stuff builds. All right, so now, this is going to be a game film example of him changing up this arm angle, getting this ball out kind of off platform, feet aren't perfectly set, and this is why I can't stand that, oh, quarterbacks must throw with the ball by their ear. This is why I can't stand that phrase. So let's watch this throw full speed. So you see holding this ball at his chest, changes up that arm angle, and threads the needle. For you guys that can't see this, this was a completion here. You see how Ben's guy's right here, Steelers receiver, catches this thing into double coverage, threads the needle before the backer's able to get there, right? You see how his feet aren't completely set to the throw, right? They're a little bit behind the throw. So what does he have to do? They call it this kind of, it's not like the most off-platform throw you ever seen, like a Sam Darnold style type throw where he's great at throwing off-platform. Or you look at a guy like Aaron Rodgers, right? That's probably a better example of a guy who throws without his feet set all the time, right? This is kind of I would say this is an easier throw than some of the throws that those guys make. This still is a very challenging throw to do because he's got to change up his arm angle. He's got to thread this window. And the only way you change up that arm angle is by having a disciplined front half. What a lot of people do, you see how Ben, when he comes out, he's kind of in that, I wouldn't say it's completely sidearm. It's kind of like that half arm angle, like that. Some people call it like a 3/4 angle, right? It's not completely sidearm like Lamar Jackson style or Patrick Mahomes style where they're completely throwing around a guy, but he changes up that angle, right? And that's something that we're going to have to do. Now, when you change up that arm angle, it's very important your upper half stays disciplined, right? Anytime you're off platform, it's very important that you try to keep your shoulders level and you try to keep your hips level and you stay square to the target, right? That's what you got to be able to do. A lot of people think when they got to throw sidearm that they dip that front shoulder out of there, and they'll swing their front shoulder wide to throw a sidearm, and then that just lets their arm fly, and then they're not consistent, and then that ball will miss when they're trying to throw sidearm. It'll miss really far in front of the receiver, right? You want to stay disciplined with your upper half, disciplined with your hips, make sure you get this back hip to come through before the ball for torque, and now you want to leave that follow through just like you're throwing darts, right? Same thing as usual. You want to let that follow through go. You see how Ben's head stays level the entire time. He does not dip his head out of there. That's a great job threading that needle around a defender and not wasting time setting his feet to the throw. Now, here's another thing that I wanted to talk about. Let's talk about how he holds this ball. So you see how when he drops back here, that ball's just right by his pec, and you see how quick that trigger is. Is there any load up? He catches the ball, he's dropping back, there's no load. That's why I can't stand when guys are working drills like hurdle drills, cone drills, and every time they get set to throw, they lift the ball by their ear. They get weight set on their back leg. You guys do not have that luxury in a game time scenario, and that's what kills a lot of quarterbacks. That's why they're t-shirt and shorts practice heroes, because they have time to load up. But you throw them out there with the line, you throw them out there when you're in pads, and you got to get this ball out with timing. You got to get out with consistency against a live defense, against a live pass rush. They crumble because they don't have this quick trigger, right? They're not able to be here, and they're not able to just get this thing out. You guys got to be able to throw from your pre-pass position. You guys got to be able to have that thing, nice, relaxed ball carriage. You look at a guy like Aaron Rodgers. You look at a guy like Big Ben, another example. Then you look at a guy like Tom Brady. They have that ball ready to go every single time. There's not a single quarterback that loads up and puts it by their ear, right? That's an old school way of teaching things, and yes, I see where a lot of coaches come from when they teach that, but it's just that little hiccup in the motion that takes too much time. You guys don't have time, especially in a throw like this, where you got an outside backer trying to jump this window and you got to thread the needle. Maybe it's a third and long situation. Maybe it's like 3rd and 8, whatever it is, and you got to get that ball there. We don't have time. Imagine if Ben took time to set up, load up, put that ball up by his ear. He's late on the throw. It's either picked off or the window ain't there, right? So we got to be able to have this quick trigger. I got to be able to close my shoulder and throw from this pre-pass position and be able to get this ball out of my hands. Great job by Big Ben. Let's watch it again full speed. So great job throwing, changing up that arm angle, driving that hip, keeping those shoulders back, and trusting those hands. All right, guys, I really want to thank you for watching. I really appreciate it. I hope this video gave you guys some value, gave you guys some insight, something that you learned. I hope there's something that you learned from this, guys. And if you want to get better at reading coverages, check out that link in the description. This is how to read defenses. And guys, if you have any questions, please leave those in the comments, or suggestions, feedback, anything. I'll make sure to get back to you as soon as possible. I'll see you guys next time.